Welcome to the Digital Remodeler podcast. So glad you've chosen to join us today. And with me is Phil Risher from Phlash Consulting. Phil, so glad you've chosen to join us today.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about the conversation.
Absolutely. So we've been talking before we hit the record button here, and the movement, obviously, in today's world, especially in search, is to AEO, answer engine optimization. And you've got a really amazing strategy you've been using with your home service clients to create some of those signals that the AI is looking for. And so let's kind of take a little deep dive into that strategy. But first, let's talk about, the authority that we're trying to create. And if you'll kind of expound, first of all, just from your own experience, what are those AIs looking for? And then expound on how you came about this strategy and why it's so effective.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the big shifts that's coming is in the traditional Google search, people are typing into Google HVAC repair near me or remodeler near me. And traditionally on Google, the average search has four keywords, remodeler near me. What we found is that on ChatGPT or AI platforms, the average search query has 347 words. It's much more conversational in nature. So what happens is that right now people are going to Google asking it for a remodeler near me, and then they're going through the Google search engine results page and making decisions based off of what they see on that page, reading reviews, looking at rankings, clicking on landing pages. It's all shifting to conversational AI search, where people are asking this platform, hey, I want a remodeler that specializes in kitchens. And how much should I expect to pay with this person? What's their lead time for this? They're asking all of these questions in search without going to websites and asking that information. So when we talk about authoritative content, this is exactly what it is that you are creating content that these large language models are trained on. They're trained on content, and then they're armed with the information to give the answer when people are searching in this conversational nature. So this is the big shift that's coming, and this is why content is feeding these language models and how search is shifting.
Yeah, and let's kind of back up a little bit because you brought up some things that I think we need to unpack because of the way that's happening. What has that done to actual traffic to the small business website? So here you are, you're a remodeler, you're a home service company. What have we seen happening with traffic to those individual websites, even those Google business profiles in the last year and a half?
Yeah, well, Bright Local, which is a tool that people use for ranking local SEO type stuff, they put out a report that right now 70% of people make their decision before they even go to your website if they want to reach out to you. So what has happened is that there's this no-click SEO that's happening, which is they go to Google, they get the answers, but they're not necessarily clicking on your website. They're looking at your Google business profile, analyzing your reviews. They're looking at Yelp, other secondary platforms, and they're trying to see, okay, what's the best company? And then they're going to Facebook groups and saying, who do you all recommend? It's a much different search than it was even 3 years ago, which is who ranks at the top, go to this page, fill out this form, and then turn into a lead. So that's a big shift that's happening right now. The big shift in the future is that Bright Local, in that same report, boomers, 80% of them still go to Google when they're looking for a local service business. Gen X, they're about 70%, millennials about 60%, and then Gen Z is at 40% of them are finding local businesses on Google. 26% of them use social media. So this shift down the hierarchy of the new people that are going to be owning homes and making decisions for their older parents or grandparents, it's all shifting away from the old Google search. And I dare I say the old yellow page strategy that was 20 years ago. So there's a lot of big shift, which is a great opportunity for people that are smaller, that are competing against these huge Goliaths that have all these Google reviews, have all this ad spend, sitting pretty on Google with their head in the sand, that they're about to get hit pretty hard.
Yeah, and I think it's important to, Phil, I'm sure you've seen this with your clients and in your industries. We've seen it, in ours. The Google especially is making the recommendation now. And so if you're not in that recommendation, you just don't exist.
Yeah, so one of the tests that we run, and you can run this if you're listening to this, is go there and type in remodeling company near me. It's going to give you the traditional landscape, Google LSAs, Google search ads, map pack, and then your SEO website. But if you were to say, how much does a remodeler cost near me? It's not going to show you that. It's going to show you the GEO, generative experience optimization, which is the AI overview. And it's going to cite exactly information from your website or content that you've made inside of the AI overview, because it's more conversational in nature. And this is how search is shifting to these AI overviews or recommendations based off of the questions that you're asking in your area.
Yeah, I think that's so critical. And the thing that I'm noticing is so many remodelers, so many home service companies have been caught a little flat-footed with this, wouldn't you say?
Oh, well, they're going to get way more flat-footed after this year. But yeah, the reason is because, I come from home service. We used to think that posting on social media is just for likes and shares, and maybe someone is going to magically see our thing that needs, their HVAC repair. But it's all about like going viral or something like this. When it's shifting right now, it's not just about likes and shares. Maybe someone even sees it that needs this stuff. What it is about is that if you go to the Google search engine results page, Google started indexing short form content about a year ago. So you can see now images, videos, short form content. Right now, creating content is about educating large language models. Large language models look at all the content on the internet, learn about it, and then they tell you about the content. So you as a business owner, yeah, you're going to have your, flat footed because you think that it's just about likes and shares when really it's about training the large language models on your business.
Yeah, and I think this is a critical point, Phil. So let's unpack this for a minute because I meet so many business owners that neglect their social media side. They go heavy one way or the other. So
Yeah,
they either want to focus on their SEO and neglect their social media, or they just want to post to their social media and neglect everything else. Or, and you can probably agree with this, they want to make generic posts to social media, ignore video, which is a huge mistake.
yeah,
So we've been preaching to clients for the last few years. Hey, short form video is your best friend. The algorithm loves it. Uh,
that's
so
right.
let's talk about that.
Yeah, 3 years ago, it all changed. And basically, what marketing companies and smart people have been preaching up until 3 years ago is that your customer doesn't go to Facebook to find someone to remodel their kitchen. They go to Google and they ask Google, kitchen remodel near me, make a decision. And right now, today, 2026, it's still that way. However, it's shifting slowly to AI search. So people have always felt that, well, I don't need to be posting on social media because that's not where my target audience is. It's just tire kickers and price shoppers, which I don't disagree with you. What I am saying is that the content is feeding these large language models and AI platforms. And that's why you need to create the content so that way you're educating these platforms. Will people see your thing? What does it matter on your followers? All that stuff? No. Will you get more reach with your content? Sure. Like those are all nice things. But at the end of the day, if you want to rank on AI search is built on large language models. Large language models train off of all the content that's being put out there. So you need to set up your business. And I'll give you one other cherry on top of this, Carl. I believe that in 2026, 2027, every single business will have an AI avatar of their business. On their website, they'll have a little AI avatar of their person that has a knowledge base trained on their stuff. And I know this because my company has this with all my content that's trained on everything that my team members can ask it questions to. And when I talk to home service businesses, they say, wow, I want that. But the problem is they don't have any content to feed it because it's all in their brain or all in their CSRs or all in their salespeople. And this is the whole thing. It's not about likes or shares. It's about creating the content and getting it into words so that way you can build this machine for your business when you want to do it.
That's wise. We've done the same thing. We have a custom trained AI that knows everything about us, and that's the thing. Again, we just miss so
Yeah,
much of where we're headed. And
exactly.
so this is so critical. One of the things that, I've been telling our clients is, in the past, it was all about, do you have the right keywords in the right place and the right fingers pointing back to you? But in the AI world, and I always remind them, you have to think like a machine. And the way things operate now is if you're good enough to deserve top billing, what the AI is looking for is supporting evidence. If you're good enough for top billing, then there ought to be lots of supporting evidence to prove that up. And that's what your content is doing everywhere else. It's proving up that you're the best. And if AI is going to recommend you, then you got to have some supporting evidence.
Yeah, for sure. The big things that I would say on some people's websites, like if you don't have content about this or even blog content on your website, there's a couple big key ones that you should create. One is a pricing guide. So let's say you do kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, have a pricing guide on your website and have a video of you educating someone on the price. Because in AI search, people usually are asking, how much is it going to cost? When can you do it? How long does it take? Those are some of the main questions that you can answer in your content to be the subject matter expert. And to your point earlier about creating local content, you could create how much does something cost in this local area and then educate people on why does it go up? Why does it go down? Should you do this or versus that? That type of content works great. The other thing I would say is having online scheduling on your website. The reason is because there's a thing right now called agentic booking. So Google has rolled out agentic booking with restaurants. It's in their labs where you could go to Google and say, "Hey, I'm planning a date with my wife on Friday and I want a restaurant that has chicken parmesan at 6 p.m." And it will go into Open Table and Resi and it will find the restaurant that has that stuff and the availability at the time that you want. And it will come back and tell you, "Do you want me to make a reservation for you?" Imagine this for home service businesses. How much does something cost? When's the next availability for an estimate? All of that is happening, which is why you have to create these things on your website to answer all the stuff to then get the agentic booking when this comes out, which I believe it's going to come out in the next year or two. It's already pretty much there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's get into this strategy that you and I were talking about. I thought this was really cool to
Yeah.
create some of this I call it signal buzz that the AI is looking for. You kind of
Yeah.
walk us through this strategy you've been using and what makes it effective.
Yeah, for sure. So I was at a $3 million home service business. We had 4 CSRs and 28 technicians, 14 techs, and they doubled up. My biggest issue with content was that I had all these technicians out in the field. I had CSRs in the office saying really smart things, and the owners running around trying to firefight all this stuff. And I can't get anyone to send me anything. So probably sounds familiar. So what we do at my company is we use the call recordings. So if you set up ads, then you use tracking phone numbers. And even if you don't work at my company, you probably have some tracking numbers if you're running ads or something. Use the tracking numbers. And on those tracking numbers, they have call transcripts. So we usually do, if something is longer than 3 minutes, then we'll pull that transcript and we'll take it and turn it into hooks. So we'll take the transcripts and then run it to ChatGPT and say, based off of this transcript, give me 10 hooks for videos of the questions that this person's asking. And then we take those hooks and we get on a call with someone. We could use like Zoom, but we use a tool called Riverside. And we have a videographer, and the videographer is giving them the hooks. So here's 5 things you can consider before you do a kitchen remodel. That's a hook. Then we let the person talk about their stuff. And then we give them an agitation at the end, which is if you're preparing for a kitchen remodel in 2026 and you haven't thought about this, then this is why you should reach out to us and get a free estimate. And basically, then you have the call to action. So the whole game is you have CSRs and salespeople saying really smart things over here, and you have marketing that wants to do stuff over here, and you need to team it up together so that way you get the smart things people are saying and the questions into your actual marketing stuff.
That's great. And then, Phil, once you've put those together, how do you deploy those so that search is seeing those?
Yeah. So you obviously want to make sure that you post the content on all the platforms, Omnichannel. I know you might listen to people say, oh, well, just pick one, just do Instagram only or just do YouTube shorts. You're not trying to build a personal brand. You're just trying to get the word out there for your business. So just post it everywhere that you can. Then take the transcripts of what you said and turn it into a blog post. So take the transcript from your video and turn it into a blog post. And if you don't know how to do that, go to ChatGPT and say, optimize this transcript for an AEO optimized blog post. AEO is answer engine optimization. It's going to write the blog post for you with your unique words. Then you take that content, post it on your website, put the video with your stuff. And now, this is really cool. You can take that blog post and use it in your email newsletters every single month. You can use it in your sales funnel. You can use it if someone calls in and says, hey, how much does it cost to get my kitchen remodeled? And usually your CSR is going to say, well, it depends. We got to come out and see, da 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 da. Well, now you can say, oh, by the way, we just did this whole blog post on it with a video. Let me send that to you. So you can start to repurpose this content and not just let it die by just posting it one time.
Oh, that's great. Phil, you talked about something that we're preaching all the time, and that's repurposing your content. Work smarter, not harder, but
Exactly.
then create a wall of content out of everything that you create.
Yeah,
Don't just create one little piece, turn it into this huge wall of content to
exactly.
really create massive signals out of everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I'll give you another cherry on top with this is that I mentioned about those AI avatars. So once you get this backlog of content for your business, we use a tool called Notebook LM from Google. Basically, Notebook LM is free. You can upload up to 50 different docs, and you put your blog posts into Notebook LM, and you have a mini like mind of your business where anyone on your team can ask it a question, and it's going to give it an answer, and it's going to cite the blog post or the content that it came from. This is a really great resource, especially if you're like hiring a new person. You don't want to be the person that answers all the questions over and over again. I believe that this is also going to be customer facing in the next 12 months, where you're going to be able to use this in your sales process, use it on your website, use it a bunch of different ways. But people that don't have the backlog of content are not going to be able to deploy this in the future, and they're going to wish that they had started earlier. It's not just likes and shares.
Absolutely. So as we kind of look at, getting that organized, getting that deployed, what's really the next, you know, steps? Is there a strategy to figuring out maybe your sequence of deployment? How do you figure out what are the most important things to get deployed first, second, third? If you were to kind of figure out what's the priority of content that you want out there, what would you
Yeah.
say are kind of your top, one, two, three, four, five that you want to be feeding out there into the universe?
Yeah, for sure. We put together 52 content topics to rank in AI search. So if you want that, you can go to our website, flashconsulting.com, and get that. But I'll give you the basic summarization. This book right here, They Ask You Answer, from Marcus Sheridan.
Good
It's a really
book.
great book. Yeah. Read that book. He has 5 core areas of content, but the number one is cost and price. So what makes something cost go up? What makes it go down? Why is something cheaper than something else? And the main reason that I always start with that one is because if you get price objections, it just means that you haven't educated your customer enough and you haven't anchored your price. And you can use that content on your website as price guides inside of your sales process. So that way you anchor your price as the expert and you're not going to get these people fighting you on price. So that's the first one is take your phone and pretend, you're out to a restaurant with one of your friends and they say, hey, I'm thinking about getting my kitchen remodeled. How much should I expect to be paying? That's a video right there. Like just do that as if you're talking to them and make a video. So that's the first thing is cost and price. The other one is this versus that content is really good. So, should I repaint my cabinets or should I get all new cabinets? That's a really good video. And like every single type of remodel that you do, there's all these different nuances of cost and price, this versus that. And I would start with those ones because that's a normal, like 80-90% of questions that you're going to get over and over and over again that you're going to be able to share with people.
Yeah, that's so critical, Phil, is sometimes we are guilty as business owners of making content from our perspective,
Yeah.
not from the perspective of the consumer. And that's where Marcus's book is so valuable because he really breaks it down. Think like the buyer, not like you as the seller.
That's right. Because it's easy for us. Like we talk of this stuff all day long. So it's like, oh, of course, this is what it is. But for normal people, they're just literally starting their search on Google and they have no idea what they don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to educate them. And there's a good stat on this that someone has to see your brand 7 times in order to reach out to you and trust you. And like, okay, if we know that, then why not from the first point of contact through the sales process, we educate them at least 7 times with different things.
Mm, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm going to shift topic for just a second. We didn't talk through this one, but
No, go for it.
while we're talking about changes in the environment, this is one I know you've seen, I've seen. Let's talk about speed to lead for a minute. We're in this changing environment. It's not just the way people search, but here's another thing that I think we need to address in this conversation that a lot of business owners are missing. This consumer is not only searching different, but their expectation and response is different. And there's a couple things that I want to kind of walk through with you and get your take on. Number one is they want to do part of that sales process themselves before you jump in. You just talked about that. They want to be able to research pricing. They want to research the process a little bit. But the other piece of that is speed to lead. So they want to be able to kind of work through a little bit on their own before you get involved. Because what we're finding is they've kind of made up their mind before they contact you. But then once they contact you because their mind's already made up, they expect that response a whole lot quicker. Give me your view on that, kind of what you've experienced in your agency, and let's talk through that a little bit as well.
Yeah. So I was at a home service business and it was a high volume. We were getting 850 leads per month. So it was a high volume lead business. And what would happen is people would fill out a form. I was director of business development. My job is to make the business grow. Someone fill out a form Sunday night, 10 p.m. We'd call them Monday morning at 10 a.m. They'd be at work and they wouldn't answer. And our CSRs would literally print out the form, put it next to them and put a check on it. And then tomorrow they're supposed to call them again, right? Like this, it sounds crazy when you say that, but unfortunately people still do that, right? Or they don't even call them. They don't even print it out. They just call them once and like, maybe they'll call us back. I know they want to work with us. Okay, that is done. So what we implemented was when someone fills out a form, they immediately get a text and an email right away asking them a question. And what we found was that if we called them and they didn't answer, we had two other lifelines, a text thread and an email thread that they could respond back to. So this is what we set up for our clients, which is someone fills out a form. Let's say it's a remodel. I want to get my kitchen remodeled. Thanks so much for sending this over. If you don't mind sending us a couple pictures just to get a little bit of an idea of what the project looks like. And then they'll text pictures back. And now we have a thread open that we can communicate. You could obviously set up AI and all that stuff to respond. But my take is that you need to have 3 quick actions: call, text, email. If you can't have a call that goes out to them right away, have a text and an email, at least asking a question to start the conversation, because most homeowners want to move the ball forward. And when you ask them a question, they feel like that it was not only validated that you got it, but you also asked a question to continue the conversation. And I'll give you one other pro tip that we've implemented, which is in that initial reach out, you want to send a video from the owner. So you could record a video that says, this is what we do, and for my business and for our clients. I'll record a video that says, hey, this is Phil. I'm the owner of Phlash Consulting. Thanks so much for reaching out to us. Just want to let you know that our team's on top of it. If you don't mind, send us some quick information about your business. How many team members you got? What's your revenue looking like? It helps us prepare for the conversation. This helps you stand out immediately. And imagine in home service, you get a video from the owner asking some questions. It crushes. So that would be my take on speed to lead and also how to stand out from what other people are doing.
That's great. And then any other, thoughts that you have just in this topic, this changing environment of search, follow up, anything that's really standing out as we come into 2026 and kind of looking ahead through the year?
Yeah, the biggest thing that we see when we talk to businesses is that 9 times out of 10, they don't fully have a lead problem. They have a lead management problem. They're, one and done lead opportunities. They paid $300 for a lead. They call it once, maybe email it, maybe text it, and then it's gone forever. And they just spent $300 on that lead. So one of the biggest focuses for us is to fix the funnel, lead to sale. So there's 2 parts to it. One is a lead management system. So a lead comes in, you call it, they don't answer. What happens to it? Does it just sit there in your inbox, or does it go into some type of text email sequence? Does it go into your CRM? Like, what happens to it? Then when you send out an estimate, this one really kills a lot of people. When you send out an estimate, you might use Jobber or something that has these automated emails or something, but you need a text, email, call. Like, what's your system look like for that? And those 2 things, like we had a plumbing, their plumbing, HVAC plumbing company. They were closing 47% of their estimates We set up an estimate nurture sequence and they went from 47% to 52%. And it generated extra $15,000 a month just by increasing their conversion rate by 5%. So that's the biggest thing that I see with a lot of home service businesses is that you could talk about SEO and ads and B2B partnerships and all this stuff to get leads coming in, but stop wasting your money until you have a bucket and a funnel that's like really tight.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Often what you find is that just increasing lead flow simply amplifies where your
Yeah,
follow-up is either broken or actually working. And often it's not a lead issue, it's a systems issue. And I think
exactly.
that's great advice, Phil. And we talk about the same thing with our clients. What if we tighten up your process and get you closing 5% better? Um, then you don't have to spend more money on extra marketing, extra ads, but we can increase your revenues.
Exactly. And I'll give you one other kind of unique thing from our agency perspective that we do that maybe people listening are like, hey, this is pretty cool and we should do this. It's not rocket science. It's just been working for us. So we send out a monthly newsletter every single month for our clients. But then what we do is we take the people that open the email and either call them, don't be creepy and say, hey, I saw you open my email, but like, hey, not sure if you heard or not, but we have this promo going on or we're doing this thing right now. But the other thing would be to send a second email to the people that opened it that says in your area. And then in the body say, hey, Carl, we're going to be in your area next week doing an estimate for X, Y, and Z. Want to see if you want us to stop by because they showed interest and now you're giving them a direct call to action. To me, that is turning a branding newsletter into more of a sales tool for a lot of people. And that was been working really good.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So, Phil, if somebody wants to learn more about you, learn more about your agency, where can they find out more about you?
Yeah. So our website's Phlash Consulting, PHLASH consulting.com. You can click discuss your business. We found that there's 7 specific systems that home service businesses need to implement in order to grow, and we can walk you through those. I also, Carl and I talked pre-show, like Carl also owns a great digital marketing company as well. So if you haven't given him a shot, might be an opportunity there as well. Um, you know, Digital marketing, we kind of all do similar things. We each have our own little flavor on it. And so it's always good to see, what makes the most sense for your business.
Awesome. Phil, thanks for joining me today. And for our audience, thanks for tuning in to the Digital Remodeler. And we hope to have you on the next episode.